Hey everyone, and welcome to Almost Cancelled. I'm Peter, that is Connor. We are going to discuss Luke Cage Season 1, Episode 10. It's called Take It Personal. Full spoilers for the episode, as usual. Now, this was, it started like we thought it would. It started with him being in the tank, and then like, oh, he might die, and then sure enough, sciencey,
He's not
fixed.
going to die.
Yeah,
He's.
he's the main character, yes. Um, so it started as you'd expect. It was a fine scene, but didn't do anything surprising.
Yeah. The episode got more interesting after he regained consciousness and kind of got going again.
Yeah. So what I thought was the most interesting thing, well, not most interesting, but the funny thing that was really kind of giving me a chuckle throughout this episode is that back in Harlem, things keep they keep escalating with the name Luke Cage. It's turned into a point where Mariah's like doing rallies of, yes, we must not let Luke Cage ruin our streets, and he's wanted for murder and killing a cop, and this kid was beat up because of Luke Cage, and then we cut to him and he's just like, oh, I'm in my hometown, let's go and visit the church that my dad used to work
I
at.
will say I'm not religious, but it hurts to see a church in that state. Any sort of like a building that like has such a design sense usually, like places worship tend to. It's not nice seeing them in that state.
Yeah, it was just funny because then it cut to him sightseeing in the old prison. He's having a nice little moment with Claire, and it cuts back to Harlem, and they're wanting his blood. It kept going from like the height of insanity to just this tranquil. Let's go see some sights.
It was a bit of a strange dichotomy.
Yeah, it was. But yeah, what probably the biggest thing that happens in this episode, other than maybe at the ending, is the kid who we seen in the first couple of episodes, because his mum was flirting with Luke Cage at the barber shop,
Yeah.
and the cops bring him in because they once this cop dies, which by the way, I mean, I'm so glad Misty picked up on the fact that this guy who pretends to be Luke Cage and uses this glove to punch, Diamondback uses this glove to kill this cop to make it look
And
like it
then
was Luke
shouts
Cage,
his name.
and then shouts his name. I'm glad Misty picked up on how stupid that was.
Yeah.
Because I thought it was stupid. See, as he was walking away and he was going, I'm Luke Cage! I'm Luke Cage! Like,
It was ridiculous.
commit a crime and then start shouting your name. Yeah, that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah. But like, I mean, it's a good job they brought that up because otherwise they would have seemed like massively incompetent.
Yeah, and it almost like it feels like you can feel the frustration that Misty's feeling that our superiors are overlooking this,
Yeah.
and you're there with her, so it connects you more with her. Obviously, this episode brought in a lot of like social commentary with
We spoke about it last episode with the shooting.
yeah, a
but
little
this,
bit. But
this
this
went
one,
further.
this went much further because this was the whole idea that even Diamondback himself wants to use the cops' fear of black people to then sell guns to them, which
Yeah, because like he says that's how they originally brought in gun control laws of some degree to because of they were scared of black people.
yeah, but it's just like it's a really it's this cycle that is just
It is.
vicious and dark
And then on top of that, you've got the cops beating the black kid.
yeah, that cop who loses his crap, and it's interesting to me that in this episode, like all this controversy happens, like it's a black cop who does that.
But still, you don't see that. You just see the uniform.
Oh, of course, and in fact, the mother even has the line that when you're blue, you're just as white as anyone else,
Yeah.
which is almost surreal. Growing up, because this is the thing, like we grew up in the UK, and in the UK we don't have black communities. It's just not like that here. It's I think there was one or two black kids in the year below me in school, and that was like it.
My area is a bit different to that. I
Yeah, you have more of a
quite
mix.
a lot.
Yeah.
I good 30-40% of my school.
Really? Oh, that's interesting. Because in my school,
My area is extremely diverse because it's the area that when the war happened, a lot of the immigrants came because that's where the factories were.
right, okay. Because when I was growing up in my school, there was no black kids in my year, so I never had a black kid in any class. That was just we had a few Asian kids. One of my friends is Asian, and I feel like we have more of them. But that's kind of it. The point I'm making is like to you and even to more of an extent to me, because the town I grew up in, it just there wasn't this
Yeah.
this mix of race and this like these entire communities of people, and So it's actually really fascinating to watch this stuff play out. So that's all played with, and Mariah's using this to do this rally, this big speech she makes at Harlem's Paradise. It's causing this media frenzy. They're putting the photo out there, and that rival politicians even like you're using this kid's incident to further your own political gain, and she slyly lies through her teeth.
Mm.
So that was maybe the main part of the episode, except for, of course, Luke looking into his past, both with like finding out about the lies about Reva and how she was involved in like selecting people and for these experiments and that kind of thing, which didn't come off as a huge revelation to me, like it, because I felt like she was already kind of involved and he kind of knew that.
Because we'd seen her, it even gives a little flashback of her saying, I'll explain everything.
Yeah, like he took that really hard, but not. I felt like this doesn't feel like that new information. Like, yeah, sure, you're hearing her talk about you as if you are just this test subject, but this was obviously earlier on in your relationship with her. Like, I don't know, it didn't feel like the big.
Yeah, I always
to me.
felt like the relationship developed after that anyway,
Yeah.
because obviously we see her go to the doctor and beg him to save Luke.
Yeah.
Obviously, he didn't see that, but the relationship still carried on after that. So, it kind of seems weird.
That said, I did like his line about how he loved the idea of her more than he actually loved her.
Yeah,
That was a nice. I think that's a really nice idea because he was in such a dark place. He was in prison. He was dealing with all this stuff, and the idea that she was this bright light, but it wasn't so much that she herself was, the woman of his life necessarily. It was just she was, you know, she was this
What he
fantasy.
needed.
Yeah, it was what he needed to dream of at the time. But and obviously we're thinking he'll probably end up with Jessica at some point because that's what happened in the comics. But he even he even has a nice little flirty moment with Claire, where he
Yeah.
goes for the car keys. But I feel like he obviously has more of a connection with Misty. Like there's clearly more chemistry there, which is why, of course, the ending is a big deal because he comes back just in time for this big speech thing, and Misty's there. She goes up, it gets shot, and Luke jumps in and like starts taking bullets for her, and obviously we're leaving this big cliffhanger of like all these people shooting at them, and they're in a bit of a jam, and so it brings the action back in at the end. But of course, the episode is again a lot about the build up and the tension and the political stuff and all the rest of it. Of course, the other big thing that he learns is he goes back to his hometown and he thinks about things that happened in the past, and he kind of comes to the conclusion that Diamondback is his half brother
Yeah.
because he remembers, how Diamondback's mother was his dad's secretary and how they seem to share glances and things like that. And he almost does that thing that Misty does, where he feels like he's in the scene.
Yeah. Yeah.
So thematically and stylistically, it feels very consistent with the show so far.
It does. And obviously it plays into his cop background as well. Like playing out the idea that he has a similar skill set to Misty.
Yeah, it's very true. And I also liked how it felt like they were realizing he was there at times. Like the way they look over at him when the camera did pan to him. It was a nice touch. It gave it this fluidity that.
Yeah, no, I really like the idea. Because obviously, it's like as a kid, it's just things that you have no idea of, and he had no reason to think about it. But now it's the memories are there, and you see things differently as an adult, and you perceive the reality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So no, that was all interesting stuff. Anything else you want to particularly touch on?
I really like the scene, as they're all getting to the rally, and Luke and Claire split up, and then Misty's there as well. Where Claire and Misty cross each other on the stairs, and they just have this.
That wasn't Claire.
Was it not Claire?
No, that was the waitress who worked at the club.
I sworn there was Claire there as well.
No, Claire was still downstairs.
They're not down at the bottom that they crossed each other though, before Misty went upstairs.
The only time Misty crossed with anyone was when she was going upstairs and she passes the waitress.
Oh, I must have missed it then. That's my bad. I could have sworn that's what I saw, but clearly I missed that. But then, what I was about to get into anyway was I really like when she goes into the room and the camera's just where Diamondback is. And it's really great because obviously we see essentially from his perspective her coming into the room and like how he has the drop on her essentially, and it's really great, that shot.
Nah, it's a good shot. Yeah, I agree. The whole that whole build up to them all going up to that room with them all
Mm.
in different parts of the crowd all feels very well paced.
And obviously with the rally going on down at the bottom.
It's worth mentioning just briefly that Doctor Dude does save his hard drive from the laptop that Luke
Mm.
smashed, and he has his data, so there will be definitely things to come from that.
Although not, I think, in this season.
Probably not, yeah, that's probably setting up stuff for future.
Yeah.
But maybe an army of super soldiers for the Defenders to fight or something. I don't know. Or season 2.
Yeah, no, I could see it tying into Defenders.
Yeah.
Because obviously the Doctor speculates all the things that he could do with this if he could replicate it.
Oh, that's right. And events from Jessica Jones get referenced. Mariah mentioned,
Kilgrave's
yeah,
getting
he's neck snapped.
snapped.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a nice little touch. So, no, that's episode 10 of Luke Cage. We are nearing the final stretch here. So, there'll be more of this coming soon. Thanks very much for watching, guys. Let us know what you thought of this episode in the comments below. Like and subscribe and all that stuff. Helps us out a lot. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.